Okay, so my thing, my quirk, if you will, is that I keep a whole bunch of reptiles as pets. And by a whole bunch, I mean like 4. I'd do more, but parents be saying no. Now you might think that keeping reptiles is a new, modern sort of thing, but people have actually been doing this stuff for centuries. For instance, ancient Egypt. Crocodiles were often associated with gods like Sobek, the god of the Nile, and therefore were sacred. Some wealthy Egyptians would keep these crocs as pets, and some even found their way into royal tombs. The Greeks and the Romans would also keep lizards and stuff as status symbols. The Middle Ages and the Renaissance didn't really see much reptiliandery, but during the Victoria era, zoology is going nuts. As Europe began to learn more and more about the civilized world, people would travel all around, bringing back all these weird specimens. Keeping snakes and turtles became very popular among the wealthy, and those scientific collections were banging. This era also saw the first zoos appear. As time went on, reptiles as pets became more and more accessible to everybody, and inevitably corporations moved in. Now, reptiles are still technically considered exotic pets, so knowing where they came from is extremely important. Knowing this helps you understand what conditions it thrives in and how best to accommodate it. Alright, here we go. Bearded dragons, or beardies, are the most popular pet reptile, and it's no wonder why. Look at how chill they are! They aren't gonna bite you, instead preferring to hang out on your shoulder or like get fitted out. The most popular species of bearded dragon, the central bearded dragon, originates from Central and Eastern Australia, being illegally exported to the rest of the world in the 70s. Also, there's no known wild populations outside of Australia, so that means they haven't invaded anywhere yet, which is pretty nice. Maybe lizards aren't your thing though. Maybe you need something sleek, something to torment your family with. And then you'd be buying a snake. Now, ball pythons are the most popular pet snake by far, and many of you freaks watching this probably own one. They are called ball pythons not because of where they inhabit, thankfully, but because when they're pissed off, they'll curl tightly into a ball, poking their heads out. They are native to here in the wetter parts of West Africa, poking a little over into Central Africa. They also have a small feral population in southern Florida, as do many other reptiles. It's here in West Africa where they are revered by the Igbo people, who treat it as a symbol of the earth because of how low to the ground they hang out, treating them with great care and letting them wander around freely. And in northwest Ghana, there was a story that one of these pythons turned into a log to allow a tribe to flee across the river from its enemies. This is Carlos Santana, my beautiful little baby crested gecko. He likes crickets and watermelon flavored anything. He's extremely chill, frighteningly chill. I have no clue how these guys survive in the wild, and honestly, I doubt they're really any good at it. They're believed to be extinct for decades until they are randomly found in a field expedition. They come from the island of New Caledonia. Where the fuck is that? Right here, next to Australia. Gargoyle geckos and lychees also come from this island. Fun fact, this island is actually owned by France, and they've been trying to get independence for decades. Now, leopard geckos, the undoubtedly more chopped of the geckos, has a wider native range, covering areas in South Asia like Pakistan, Afghanistan, parts of India, and parts of Iran, and more. Here's a stupid one. In rural areas of Pakistan, they have been historically considered spiritually significant and bad omens, and were avoided and persecuted. Skinks! This is a blue-tongued skink. Its most noticeable feature is that its tongue is blue. Now you might think that's freaky, but there's a good reason. Much like giraffes, their tongue is blue to protect it from sunburns, as it happens to be out of their mouth a lot. They'll also flash it at people or animals whenever they get pissed off. This thing sounds like a damn Pokemon. It can't be real. But it is, and there's two main types. We got the Australian ones and the Indonesian ones. And within these two groups, there's a bunch of them. The most commonly kept kind of blue-tongued skink is the northern blue-tongued skink, which lives across northern Australia. They're also the largest and most docile of the skinks. Next up, we got the Irian Jaya blue-tongued skink, which is not formally described. Did you know that? True fact, by the way. They come from the Indonesian side of the island of New Guinea. Fun fact, this area is also trying to get independence, albeit more violently and angry. Next up, we got the Maruki blue-tongued skink, which is also from the Indonesian side of Papua New Guinea, but the southern part of it. Next up, Oil Spill, my main guy. He's a Halmahera blue-tongued skink, which comes from Halmahera, an island in the Maluku archipelago in Indonesia. You know what else is in Indonesia? Komodo dragons, but they can't be kept as pets. That's okay, because a little mini version of them exists. Monitor lizards are an extremely diverse group of lizards with over 80 recognized species across Asia, Africa, and Oceania, such as the Komodo dragon. They're known for their intelligence. They think a lot. They ponder the orb, you know? They're very human. They're also hard as fuck, like look at that. The three most commonly kept monitors are the Aki monitor, the Savannah monitor, and the Dell monitor. Now the Aki monitor is popular because of its manageable size and calm temperament, being from Australia like literally every other reptile on this list. Not the Savannah monitor though. They have a wide native range across the Sahel region of Africa, where the dry Sahara Desert meets the more lush parts of Central Africa. Also, side note, why the fuck do big chain pet stores sell them? They often end up neglected after their purchase because half the people buying them don't have not a bit of clue of what they're doing. They just think, ooh, sheep lizard, wow. Sell something easier! Like a chameleon. Just kidding, only buy one of these if you want to blow all your paychecks on vet bills. Now, chameleons are like the vintage Italian sports cars of the reptile world. Delicate? Extremely. One wrong setting and it's dead on the road. Maintenance level? Requires constant vigilance. Gorgeous? Oh yeah. There are three main types of chameleons that are commonly kept, and their native ranges vary wildly. It's kind of interesting. We got the veiled chameleon, the most common of the three. They come from here, this little green part between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, called the Asir Mountains. They're often found near wadis, which are riverbeds that only flow with water when it rains and pours. They've also invaded Hawaii and Florida. We got the panther chameleon, found in northern and eastern Madagascar, and we got the horned Jackson's chameleon, which has to bear the hardest skeleton known to man. They come from the montane forests of northern Tanzania and Kenya. They're also currently taking over Hawaii. Alright, I don't know what else to do, so fucking turtles. Now, turtles have a long and colorful history of being kept as pets for some reason. In ancient China, they are considered sacred, symbolizing wisdom and longevity, and they are kept in temple ponds and elite gardens. In ancient Greece, they are often associated with Aphrodite, the goddess of love. I mean, I kinda understand the charisma behind turtles. They're sort of poetic, often known for their slow jams. The most commonly kept pet turtle is the red-eared slider. They come from America, baby, hell yeah, particularly the Mississippi River Basin area, stretching from Illinois to Mexico. Now they are extremely invasive, spread far and wide because of irresponsible owners releasing them into the wild, taking over Europe, parts of Asia, pieces of Africa, South America, and the West Coast. Definitely the most widespread and evil on this list. Actually, it's not the turtles' fault. They're not evil. It's the fucking owners! Guess what? I got a new microphone. What if I told you that a pair of tortoises were actually the first Earthlings to go all the way around the moon and come back alive and healthy? Well, I wouldn't be lying. The year is 1968, and the moon god Khonsu was hungry. He came down to Earth, demanding a sacrifice from the... Okay, here's the deal. We will give you 2 tortoises, and in exchange you won't glass Moscow. Do we halves ourselves the deal? Okay, so, the year is 1968, and the space race is reaching its home stretches, and both sides of the Cold War were eager to be the first ones on the moon. The Soviets, wanting an early jump on it, came up with the idea to test circumlunar flight. They were gonna send some living stuff up into space around the moon just to see what would happen. So they put 2 Russian tortoises on the Zond 5 spacecraft and shot them into the black abyss. They went to the moon, looped around it, and came back surprisingly alive and healthy, only losing 10% of their body weight. This was several months before NASA's Apollo 8 mission, meaning the first organism to go around the moon and back was a tortoise. Now, Russian tortoises don't actually come from Russia. They come from the arid steppes of Central Asia, reaching from Iran to China. Another popular species of tortoise is the Hermann's tortoise, which is an umbrella term for 2 separate but similar species, the western and eastern Hermann's tortoise, both native to territories around parts of the former Roman Empire. And you knew it was coming, the big dog status, sulcata tortoise, the largest mainland tortoise species in the world, living 50 to 70 years. They come from the Sahel region with a similar native range to the Savannah monitor. Now, if this video inspired you to get a reptile, I highly recommend that you rescue one instead of buying one from the store or something. There are so many reptiles that people are trying to get rid of because they can no longer take care of them, so you'll have plenty of options. They're also oftentimes way cheaper this way. And of course, if you're going to buy a reptile, assure that you know how to properly care for the thing and have an enclosure big enough for it. I know too many cases of people stuffing ball pythons into 40-gallon breeders for their entire lives, and it makes me very upset. Okay, bye.